Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, it is a Thursday, so we're going to have a lot of things to get to here today. We're going to do a little What to Watch presented by Bryant Technologies. We'll do some Question of the Day presented by Alumni Hall and get to some other topics, especially dealing with college football, college basketball, some SEC updates too, and your chats as well as your phone calls. So if you want in on the conversation, you can jump in on the chat. We'll read the good ones and ban the bad ones. And you will also be able to call in at 478-344-6623. But fellas, how we feeling? How we feeling on a Thursday afternoon today here in Arkansas?
Not too shabby, man. I got a normal night of sleep for a change, so that's pretty good. I woke up feeling refreshed, and honestly, it's just freaking nice outside. I mean, the weather is awesome considering we had about a foot of snow a few days ago. I know it's going to get real cold again over the weekend, but I'm enjoying this, man. I already took the dog for a walk and got some sunshine, so it's a good day. I'm not saying the vibes are fully restored, but it's a good day.
I'm definitely doing a lot better than I would have guessed 2 days ago. Had you told me like how the LSU game was going to play out and like how my mental state would be, I probably would have guessed that I'd be down in the dumps. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it. Of course, Thursdays are always interesting too because there's not a whole lot of like SEC basketball going on. There are some other games too, but we'll have the national championship game for college football, I guess, next Monday. Which just seems like, man, this postseason has lasted for a long time. I don't know if it's good or bad, but we'll have that to at least looking forward to kind of as part of the weekend. And then NFL playoffs, everything's going on. So it's going to be really great. But, here's the deal. We know what happened with the show yesterday, and everything yesterday was quite wild. It was quite fun, quite interesting. A lot of interactions, needless to say, in dealing with Arkansas post of the lost LSU. But, I wanted to start with the show and, just talking about this a little bit because I actually had some Razorback fans, that is, just, inquiring about a particular thing with Cal. And of course, this year not going well. It's not over yet, but it's not going well. And it doesn't look like it's going to continue to go well. But, the thing is like you look at his tenure and he's always been really successful, but he's always had one or two down years, making it to the NIT, losing to Robert Morris. I guess in the 2020-2021 season, they were like 9-12 or whatever it was, weird year and record because of COVID and everything. So it's not to say that coach and other coaches too. I mean, Hall of Fame coaches, Bill Self has had bad years. Coach K has had bad years. Roy Williams has had bad years. Everybody has a bad year. So I guess the question that some fans are kind of asking, maybe in hope, maybe in optimism, is this maybe just a bad year for Cal? Is this going to be something to where the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long he's here, is it going to get better? Is it going to be great? Is it going to have some success? And this is just a bad year? Or is this type of year and what we're seeing right now going to be indicative of what the next few years will hold for Cal at Arkansas while he's here?
Well, I, for one, hope it's just a bad stretch, like just a bad couple weeks for Cal. But I don't want to give up too much of my material for tomorrow. But he hasn't had many of these, just for the record. Not many at all, like 3 in the past 25 years or so, to be exact. So, but no, it's there's no way of really knowing. But I think, a lot of people say, well, has Cal lost his fastball? Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame coach, but he's not the guy he was. And a lot of that has just been kind of predicated on the lack of success that they've had in the NCAA tournament, right? So this is a little bit unprecedented. So what you're hoping for is that if the arrow was already like slightly pointing down, you hope it's not getting ready to drop off the cliff there, right? And so, yeah, hopefully that's not the case. I think a lot of it's roster construction, though. Even if, he's lost his fastball or whatever you want to say, the recruiting should still be there. You just got to make sure the pieces work. And I think he just took a swing on doing something a little bit different with this 9-man rotation deal. And I'm not saying it's not his fault, but just the circumstances surrounding it, it just hasn't worked out. Like guys they brought in who they were counting on haven't panned out. They've had injuries. Other guys weren't ready. Like it's just turned into a mess of a roster here. And he's going to have to correct that for it to turn around. He's going to have to correct some things on his staff. He's going to have to be willing to listen to some outside voices. Is he going to do that? I don't know. But if this year doesn't go well, am I looking at the rest of his tenure going, oh shit, man, we're just back in the dumps of the Pelfrey day? No, I don't feel that way at all. And so I'm optimistic that he'll still be able to get some things going here.
Yeah, you're never as good as you look on your best day, and you're never as bad as you look on your worst day. And obviously, when we say that, hey, this is a bad year, and are we going to chalk it up to that? It's not like we're saying just a little oopsie, just didn't go great, but next year they'll just be right back to crushing, right back to top 5 team and competing for a national title. I definitely don't think it's that simple. But I think you made a good point, Curtis, that you can definitely notice there's a downward trajectory based on just the success he had at Kentucky and how those last 4 years went. But again, you made a great point in it's really more about the NCAA tournament success. Like everyone that references, they're like, oh, well, I watched Kentucky last year and they sucked. And so I knew he was going to suck at Arkansas. I would gladly sign up for the sucking that Kentucky had last year where, they went 13-5 in SEC play or I can't remember what seed they were, maybe a 2 or 3, but like one of the better, more fun teams to watch in the country, had a lot of talent, and it kind of came together and worked. And that team also started slow, if I remember correctly. Like I would love for Arkansas to be in that kind of mode where they're just an offense or a regular season juggernaut that maybe doesn't win a ton of games in March. Like at this point, we would kill for that. So I think there's definitely room for Cal to get back to that kind of level. And I think it's definitely worth noting that it's not like Cal never had weird one-off years at Kentucky. I mean, they went 9-16 like 4 or 5 years ago. They had that one year where they lost to Robert Morris in the NIT. I believe that was coming off the heels of one of their better teams. Like they've had kind of some weird years here and there. And so I think it would, we were stupid to think that couldn't happen at Arkansas. And you mentioned that he tried to do something a little different with this roster. I think they definitely learned some things, and we'll see what they're able to do next offseason when they have a full offseason to work. So I'm not in the mood of like, oh yeah, this is just a bad year, they'll be awesome next year no matter what. But I think it would be a little bit, dumb to think that Arkansas couldn't improve the roster and end up having a much better team next year. I'm not willing to just assume that's going to happen, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me.
Hey, see, and that's where I'm coming from, where it wouldn't surprise me either. It's just awful timing. Like it'd be one thing if this year everything was good and he was having a year like he had, in the past couple of years at Kentucky, going 24 and whatever and going 12-6 in SEC play, or 11-5 or 13-5. And then it just would have been okay. Even if he just went to the second round, whatever, but you at least would have been like, all right, hey, it's Cal. He's doing the same thing here that he did at Kentucky. And, you think that one of these years it's going to kind of break through. Well, it's just horrible time because now it's the first year, and the first year is the first impression. And when you get that first impression, it's going to be hard to shake, because if they would have had a good year this year and then next year kind of regressed, I don't think anybody would be happy about it, but it'd be like, that sucks. It is what it is. Hopefully it can bounce back a little bit. But because it's the first impression and because of how panned the hire was by some, even though by many it was really praised and everything, it's just, just the bad accumulation of everything going on. And so that's what I think makes it a lot worse. And that's why I still believe there is a chance to turn this around. I just don't think Cal, knowing him and the little I do, but just knowing him and then knowing the type of coach he is, that he's going to say in 3 years, just say the next 3 years, going to make the tournament only one time and lose in the first round. And that's it. Like, I just don't know if he's built that way. And he's been in a coaching game for a long time. I mean, at UMass, when he's first there, his final 5 years at UMass, Sweet 16, round of 32, Elite 8, Final Four. At Memphis, he was an NIT, then NIT champion, then tournament, second round tournament, Elite 8, championship runner-up, Sweet 16. And then at Kentucky, we all know, Elite 8, Final Four, national champion, runner-up, Final Four, round of 32, Elite 8, Sweet 16, Elite 8. This is a guy that has just had success everywhere he's been and at the highest level. I don't care about his age or anything. Just given the circumstances and given the type of coach he is, I feel like at least here in the next 3 years, he's going to have at least one great year, one really good year. And I just don't see next year and the year after being like that this year. I just don't see any way, shape, or form that happens.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's just it's so strange now, or different now, I guess. It just it keeps coming back to roster building for me. Like, it doesn't even have to do anything with Cal so much as roster building. Continuity is just not really a thing anymore. And it never was for John Calipari. It's not anywhere. But when you just have so many bodies that you're bringing in every year, he's just got to have a better hit rate. like he could still be the same guy doing the same things with his X's and O's and all that this year. But if he had a John L. Davis and a Jonas Adu that were what we thought they were going to be when they came in, Arkansas wouldn't be 0-4 in the SEC right now. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And, we'll see what happens there. We'll see if he's really going to do, what he says about not relying too much on bringing freshmen in, with 6-7 man freshman classes or whatever. He's going to utilize the portal a little bit more to stay older. Is he going to go out and get more than 9 guys? That's where I'm at with it, because I don't think anybody expects, Cal to just reinvent himself as a coach at this stage of his career. That's not going to happen. None of us are saying that. So for everybody who's there is like, he's not going to change. No shit. Like we understand. Okay. Like we've been rooting against this guy for 15 years. We've been watching what's going on over there. We get it. Right. But that also doesn't mean that he's suddenly just a terrible coach that's going to fall off of a cliff here. I think it comes down to his roster building and his staff.
Absolutely. Like literally no one is under the impression that this offseason Cal's going to just embrace the clipboard and just become redo everything he does as a coach. But the roster building is absolutely that's what it all comes down to. Hell, that's the concept that we all bought into when Cal got hired. When he got hired, none of us were saying, yeah, he's going to completely change from what he was doing at Kentucky. We knew what he was doing at Kentucky, and we knew that Kentucky fans weren't that happy about it. But given the situation that Arkansas was in, we were kind of okay with that trade-off of, yeah, just bring in a roster full of talented players, bring in some one and dones, and we'll see what we can make it work. It's about the hit rate, of course, and it's about not depending on 9 guys, 3 of which are freshmen that may or may not be great, and then 2 of your top transfers that end up being banged up and being shells themselves. Of course, the context matters. So I think conceptually, there's definitely a reason to believe Cal could go out there and build a very talented roster. Will he still underachieve with that roster? That's very much a possibility. We've seen that this year. We've seen that with several years at Kentucky. Nobody's ignoring that side of it. But there's a lot of room between where Arkansas is at now and competing for a national title. There is a lot of room. And so Arkansas could definitely end up being a lot, closer to that national title with still, like you were saying, just maybe winning, being competitive, get to the tournament, win a game in the tournament. That's kind of where I'm at with this thing, which is definitely a far cry from kind of where our imaginations were at 6 months ago. But I think objectively looking at it, obviously you can admit that this Cal thing had its flaws, and there's a lot of flaws with the way they built this roster and the way this thing has worked out. But and I think anyone who's thinking it's going to change drastically with the method of how they do things is stupid. But I also think it's just there's been fluctuation with how he was at Kentucky. It's not like it's the same story every year at Kentucky. Those teams fluctuated a good bit, so there's going to be some fluctuation. It just might not be as fluctuating as high as Arkansas fans had hoped when they first hired Calipari.
My favorite thing is I got a message from a Razorback fan, and they're like, "Do you think that maybe Cal's doing all this on purpose? He's really setting the bar really low, and that way he can kind of catch fire at the right time, and everyone doubts him and uses it against the team and all this stuff to get him motivated." I'm like, no, I don't think that at all. I get what you're trying to do and trying to just convince yourself that there's some sort of positivity, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's like that. I just think that this is who he is, and this is where it's going to go. And this year, again, a lot of games left, but that's not the core concepts are not going to change. It's just a matter of, can they put all the right pieces together, whether it's this year or next year or years from now. That's going to be the key for all of them. So, but it's just funny to see how people come up with their own meanings and whatnot to it all. But still, I tell you what, we'll go to some early calls here in the early going, because I know we had a lot yesterday and didn't get a chance to go to all of them there. But let's go ahead and start with it's been a while since we've heard from him. It's Brent, who's in Searcy. What's up, Brent?
What's up? What's up, John? Before I get going, I want to tell you I really enjoyed your Razorback. What's it called? Razorback Unfiltered or whatever yesterday. It was great.
The Locked On Razorbacks. Is that what you mean?
Locked On Razorbacks. It was fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
It was fabulous. I thought it. And Andrew, I really enjoy your bombastic baseball.
Appreciate that, man.
It's great too.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, what I've got to tell you, what I've got to say is this basketball is an unobliterated disaster. We're going to win about 5 more games. and we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a whole new team next year. How are we gonna keep anybody on this roster right now, Curtis?
Who would you want to keep on this roster right now? Is my question.
Nobody.
Exactly. So, so it might not be the worst thing in the world. I get what you're saying, though, for sure. I feel you.
I mean, you keep Carter Knox. Well, he's not ready for pro ball.
Not yet.
Or Billy Richmond. And let's just face it. What's his name? That he's Milt Wagner's grandson. Mm-hmm. He'll be back if he's not an NBA player.
I mean,
and I'll take what y'all say off the phone. So, all right, thank you.
Appreciate you, Brent.
Yeah, appreciate you for sure. I'm wondering about DJ because he was really playing well, and when he was shooting 40% from three on good volume, like throughout the course of non-conference play, it was like, he might be able to sneak into that second round conversation there. And then, it hasn't been as good. He was a little bit better the other night, I guess, but I don't know what the future looks like for him. I just have kind of gone into it assuming everybody's moving on because that's just the way it is. And like, it's almost like if you wind up getting a guy or two back that you wanted back, then cool, like it's great. Maybe you have a little bit of continuity there or whatever. But it's always that double-edged sword. Like if you have a really good team, then you usually want several guys back, right? And if you wind up losing them, even if they weren't big contributors, like, oh, damn, man, that sucks. We got to restart. But when you stink, like Arkansas did last year, for example, people weren't as broken up about Tremont Mark dipping out and Caleb Battle dipping out. And these are guys who are averaging 15, 16 points per game and who were big contributors, but on a bad team. So people probably won't really be able to decide what they want until the season's over. DJ, I think, is an interesting case. Big Z, I think, is an interesting case. And then obviously the two freshmen in Carter and Billy Richmond. Like, are those guys really ready? Are they league ready? I'm not so sure. And then, is it you come back to Arkansas and see if you can make it work? Does he welcome them back? What is he trying to do? That's all part of a conversation that we'll have, in a couple months from now.
I mean, I don't think anybody at this stage of college sports should ever assume that anyone is coming back to their program a year from now. Obviously, you get into the offseason, you have some exit meetings, you get a better understanding, and we can kind of decide then. But it's honestly, I'm not saying it's too early to talk about this, but it's like it's a complete crapshoot. It's like, who the hell knows how this year's going to play out, how DJ Wagner's going to feel, how Carter Knox is going to feel. Like everyone always does that, where you look at the freshmen and you're like, yeah, I'd love to have them back, but it's like a lot of times freshmen, when their freshman seasons don't go the way they think, the rate of those guys staying at their school is pretty low. And so really, I think it's a spot where it's not even worth worrying about if you're an Arkansas fan, because it's like you said, do you even want all these guys back? And I think the roster is going to be a mostly new look roster regardless. Like even if you did get DJ back, even if you got Big Z back, you'd still be looking at 3 freshmen, a bunch of transfers, and a kind of a new makeup.
Yeah, I don't really care what the roster looks like, just as long as it's a good one that plays well together. I don't care if it's brand new. I don't care if it's partly new, whatever. It's just that's Cal's job is to figure that out and to put that thing together. Yeah, we got a few calls here, and some of them, of course, we got to get to. Like, for instance, we got to get to. He was patiently holding yesterday, but we ran out of time. Let's go ahead and get Trey and Harrison in here. What's up, Trey?
There we go.
How's it going, guys?
What's up,
God,
buddy?
I'm so glad I picked up new hobbies.
What you got, man?
It's been a long season already. I'm 17, but by God, I feel like I'm 90 at this point with Razorback athletics.
It'll do it to you.
I've seen some things. But here's a serious question. Curtis, what do you think is the biggest downfall, besides obviously Jonas Adu and Noah Davis not panning out how we thought they were going to? Do you think it's the 9-man rotation, or do you... I also want to give you credit for pointing out the 9-man rotation as probably a bad idea. Just want to throw that one out there. and one of your concerns during the offseason was the 9-man rotation. Do you think that is one of the contributing factors to all this besides Nelly and Jonas? Well, I really don't like it. I'm tired of watching basketball and not being happy. I just want to be happy watching Hog Athletics. I don't care. Where the big three has to produce, right?
I feel you, man. I feel you for sure. Yeah, I mean, the Jonas and Nelly Davis, that's tough. I mean, those are your two highest profile transfers, and if that doesn't work out, that puts you in a tough situation. With the 9-man rotation, for me, like it's all in hindsight. Going into it, it was like, hey, in theory, this could work because you're not going to play that many guys anyway. Like I understand that. But if you're going to do that and you're not going to have any depth or any insurance policies behind them, it's like, okay, you can't have injuries and you can't have missed evaluations. Like you just can't. Like everybody's got to hit. Everybody's got to be able to contribute. Cal says as much after every game in the press conference where he's like, if we've only got this many guys, everybody's got to give us something. And that's the problem. They have so many guys who aren't giving them that. So yeah, that's an issue. But I mean, this team's got a bunch of them. Like right now, they're questioning, their motivation out there and their intensity. Physicality has been a big issue for them. 3-point shooting has been a big issue for them. Like you don't just fall to 0-4 in SEC play out of the gates because you only have one problem. So that it's a conglomeration of things that they have to fix for sure.
I also need people to understand the difference between 9-man rotation and 9-man roster. Because everyone, I mean, and I'm not knocking Trey, but like a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're always going to have a 9-man rotation. That's just what having a 9-man rotation in and of itself isn't bad. That's kind of what you want as a team. You don't want to be playing 11 different guys, but having 9 scholarship players who then are by default your 9-man rotation, and you don't have anybody to choose from. You can't bench anybody. You can't say, oh, let's go a different direction. Let's not play Carter Knox. Let's not play Billy Richmond. You have no choice. Because, look, Muss would always cut the rotation down to 8 or 9 guys by the end of it, but he would have 12 scholarship guys to choose from, and he would kind of let the cream rise to the top. Arkansas didn't have that process of letting the cream rise to the top. Like we've been saying, you kind of just have to hope all these guys hit.
Well, and also too, like you brought up the trying something new and everything, and the way that he's approached it with his roster management and all of that. That's what I've kind of found fascinating, because I remember after Arkansas, and I know it didn't work out necessarily, but when Arkansas had the 3 McDonald's All-Americans under Muss with Nick Smith, Jordan Walsh, and Anthony Black, you could tell that year and after that year, Muss was like, I ain't doing that again, type of thing. I'm not going to get 3 McDonald's All-Americans and go the freshman route. I'm going to change it up because the year before that, it was like no freshmen, just literally transfer players and some guys that came in. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that coaches do that sometimes. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's maybe, I know it's Muss and Cal and they're 2 different coaches, but maybe that's what's also you can look at is saying, hey, Cal did this, didn't work. So change it up, do something different with the roster, go a different direction, get a different type of player or whatever. And it may just work out and click and just be fine. But there's different ways to skin a cat and there's different ways to win games. And it's just, I'm going to be curious to see how Cal does that. If this year goes and continues to go the way it is, next year, how is that really going to be changed up? Because I don't blame him for taking a risk or trying something new. I don't blame him at all. I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to adapt. You got to adjust. You got to see how it fits, because sometimes it'll click and really be great. Sometimes it may not. But this is something that doesn't look like it's working out. So don't do it again. Try something new. Try something different. Or as people keep saying, play the hits, play what you know and how you can make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
See a few more calls here before we move on, because I know we got a lot of other fun stuff to get into. We'll go ahead and get, it's been a while since we've heard from him, but Unbiased Brim is in on the line. What's up, Unbiased?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Great.
Dandy.
All right. So, I mean, I'm trying to keep my sanity. I've been watching some old Hog stuff, to find some joy. But I think regardless of what the outcome of this season happens, one of the things I think that I would be fair to say from fan base, everybody, maximum heart and effort just has to be shown regardless of the results. You would agree with that, right?
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, the 9-man rotation. I think the problem with the 9-man rotation isn't the rotation. It's how he's utilizing the rotation. I was researching some stuff like if you Brazil, Adu and Thiero, they have like on court time together. It's like minimal minutes. So I don't think he's using the lineups right. It just seems like he's not putting the right lineups out there. It's something that's not working. If we're getting killed on the glass, put enough bodies out there and see how that works. Brazil, Adu, Thiero, those, having them all on the floor at the same time. You got to try. You got to do something different because something's not working. Something's not clicking. I mean, am I off base here? Especially for you, Curtis. Am I off base with this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I have no idea what goes on with Calipari's decisions on, lineups and everything like that. But, for me, it's just like if something's not working, shake it up. He kind of hinted that he was going to do that, said maybe he needed to go with a bigger lineup. I think he said that after the Florida game, and then he didn't. Not only did he not start it, like he didn't make a tweak to the starting lineup against LSU, like we just didn't see it at all. And so I was surprised to not see those three guys in particular playing together. I know it creates some concerns about, 3-point shooting and floor spacing. They haven't really been making those anyway. I just wonder if part of it was like John L. Davis was really good in the first half. And I think I said this yesterday, but it just feels like he's not really going to take Boogie and DJ off of the floor much at all. Like maybe just a quick breather here and there. And so if you're getting something out of John L. or you're getting something out of Carter Knox there on the wing, it just seems like he might be hesitant to want to shift Thiero up there. That's my only thought process behind it. I don't really know, but I feel you. It's like when you're 0-4 in league play and things just continue to kind of get worse and pile up on you. It's like, maybe try something different and just and see if you shake it up and that could help. So I get it. They definitely haven't found the combination that's working for them just yet.
Yeah, and before I head out, just one of the things that I just noticed, like just during the games itself, is like the energy is just too low. It's just not enough momentum to carry over. Like you'll get a little bit, but then you give so much back so quickly. And if this season is a wash, this season's a wash, man. I just BBN's having fun at our expense right now, and I just hope that we can turn it around. We'll see. Cal, what you gonna do, dog? Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Brim.
Yeah. The pressure's on him, and he's kind of said it himself now. I mean, he says it in different ways, I guess, after every games, but got to teach these guys how to win. All right. Time for that lesson. We agree. Got to drag these guys across the finish line. Okay. Yep. That sounds great. Do that.
When you're 0-4, I'd say that's a good time to start winning.
Yes.
Yeah. No doubt,
I'm waiting for like the one SEC game or whenever they finally bust through. Maybe it's this weekend, but whenever they wins that SEC game, it's going to be in that press conference post game, maybe. But he's going to say, "What did I say? What did I say this team needed to learn how to do? Win. And what did we do today? We won, and this team learned how to win." Tonight. Tomorrow may be a different story, but tonight it's going to be something like that. He's going to know he's got to teach him up. He's got to coach him up. He's going to get it done. All right, let's go ahead and go into a little fun segment. It's been a while since we played this, but it's what's more likely here on the show, presented by BetSison. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas for a reason. You can download on iPhone or on your Android, or you can visit BetSison.com. Get to winning with all the great games, all the different sporting events, crazy things, even like mud wrestling you can even get in on. You can bet on it. So do it with the BetSison app here in the state of Arkansas. And guys, I just got a few for you. I actually meant to put them into the deal, but I didn't. So I may just do it on the fly as we see. But how about this? What's more likely to happen? John Calipari not be the coach at Arkansas after this year, or John Calipari to make it all 5 years at Arkansas like his contract says?
All 5 years.
Yeah, probably all 5 years. I really don't see a scenario where it's over after 1 year.
Well, he's not getting fired.
No, I can't imagine, right?
He could lose out, and they're not going to have the money to fire him. They can't fire Sam Pitman. It's like he would have to just call it quits on his own. I don't know if I see that happening.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't either. Somebody posed that to me yesterday, though, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of interesting because just not saying he would, but I'm at the point where he's never been fired from a job. Well, he's not in college. He did in the NBA, but not in college. And that would probably be just a weird thing if they came in as like, hey, we're firing John Calipari. It'd have to be a new one there. So, but how about this? All right, a little bit extra one that I got told to as well. What's more likely, Arkansas to beat Kentucky and Rupp or make the NCAA tournament at this point in time?
Beat Kentucky and Rupp, because that's one game and they need to win like 8 or 9 to get to the NCAA tournament. It's like one piece of a much larger and more complicated puzzle there. I don't know that I predict Arkansas to actually do that in Rupp at this point with the way they're playing, but it seems more likely to me.
I would agree. I mean, one game, it's like you get anything can happen in one game, but it's not, you don't have that anything can happen approach when you're talking about 14 games left. They would have to go like 8-4 or 8-6 or whatever. Like they're not going to do that. I don't think this team can string together success, but I do think they could catch lightning in a bottle for one night.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that if they get to the NCAA tournament, I think at this point in time, you'd have to win the SEC tournament, which I don't think that's really going to happen. Like that would be your best case scenario. So, but hey, a lot of games left, right? Totally. All right, here's a little mixture. All right. Actually, no, we'll do baseball. Let's do baseball. This one's for more of you, Andrew, but I thought this was fun. What's more likely, Razorback baseball to go undefeated in non-conference or win every SEC series this year?
Undefeated non-conference. And I don't think they will. I mean, it's gonna be just tough to do that because I mean you're looking at a pretty large sample size of games, and you got to go to Arlington and play 3 competent or 2.5 competent teams. But I mean, I could see we've seen it kind of almost happen before in 2021. I think I could see the case for that. In fact, I was saying I guess yesterday or the other day that I think I could see them being like 14-1 at one point in this season, like having a really good start to the year. And just this year with the SEC schedule that they're playing. If they win every SEC series, they should just get a ring. You know what I mean? Like they should just opt out of the NCAA tournament. Like I don't think anybody in the SEC is doing that.
Well, considering it's only been done twice in SEC history.
Twice,
yeah, and Arkansas was one of them. But
it was a fluke when Arkansas did it. Let's be honest with you. Like it was a fluke when Arkansas did it. And I think if you replayed that season, they wouldn't do it again. But I think you could probably go undefeated in non-con.
And baseball is just so weird, man, which is part of the reason why I appreciate the game. But it's like as bad as the White Sox were, they won how many games this year? Like you could be just historically bad. And then on a given day, like your pitcher gets through the lineup a couple times accidentally or balls are hit right at guys and, an error here and there. And it could be a one-off type of game. But that's interesting. I definitely remember continuing to write the stories about Arkansas winning all those SEC series a couple years ago, and that was something. And then they got in a position where they just needed to kind of do it again, and they couldn't.
Literally, and they never would sweep. It would always be 2-1, and it would be like every game's like 6-5, 8-7. It's like, good Lord, man, it was stressful.
Yeah, because what they win, I think they won 24 SEC games that year, something like that, or 23.
I think they were like 20. I think it was 22-8, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that's right, 22-8. Yeah, so that's what's funny because you're like, oh, every SEC series, but 22-8, you're like, that's literally an average of 2 wins
last year. I think they went 20-10 last year and they lost like 3 or 4 series.
Yeah, those games can make a difference for you, but and also for a little mixture of all the sports. How about this? What's more likely, Razorback baseball to get a Golden Spikes winner first, or Razorback football or basketball to get an All-American first?
Razorback baseball get Golden Spikes.
Yeah, I know.
When's the last time football or basketball has had an All-American? Football, I feel like
wasn't Drew Sanders technically an All-American?
Yeah, like I feel like football's weird. And again, there's a lot of All-American teams, so I guess it really becomes a thing there. But like, I don't know. I mean, basketball's not going to have an All-American this year. Football's not going to have an All-American this year.
I beg to differ.
Who's going to be the football All-American?
Devin Bale.
Okay.
It's a pretty good pick if you were gonna.
I mean, he's probably got. I mean, if he's probably has a top 3 or 4 chance on the team to be an All-American. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, baseball. I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily a Golden Spikes winner on this team. I think they just missed a chance with Hagen Smith. I don't know, man. I think that would be tough for Arkansas to have another. That'd be 3 Golden Spikes guys in 10 years. That's kind of tough. I think there will be a fluke football or basketball All-American. Malik Thomas next year.
Well,
Yeah, I was about to say, this year's a little bit different, but Cal's definitely going to have those one and done, like legit type freshmen. He might be able to sneak one of those in maybe next year. I like
John L.
Thomas.
Davis.
A-Cuff's really good too. So
John L. Davis, preseason All-American.
Yeah, he was. Oh, man. Well, I'll say that I was going to go with football being it and having Devin Bale be the All-American. However, it's just about what's first. So, there could be none this year in any sport. But I don't know. I'd probably lean towards the All-American side of things. I kind of hope that someone gets an All-American bid. That'd be nice just to have. But Golden Spikes winners are cool too. So if Arkansas had one of those, it wouldn't be too bad either. But I guess that would be what's more likely than Andrew. Arkansas with their next Golden Spikes Award winner, a pitcher or a fielder.
I bet it's got to be pitcher. Just because they had Cops win it in 21. Smith and could have won. I mean, I guess he was a finalist last year. I feel like Matt Hobbs has been pretty consistent at creating monsters. And weirdly enough, I mean, that's kind of a huge issue with the lineup is that they have a lot of pretty good players, but Arkansas hasn't had a guy hit 20 home runs since 2017. In Tennessee last year had 5 dudes in their lineup hit 20 home runs. Like Arkansas's offense has not been producing those kind of monsters since Heston Kjerstad, who probably would have done it in 2020, but they just have a lot of like pretty good guys usually. I do think that'll be a little bit different this year, but I think pitcher is a lot more likely.
Well, there you go. There's a little what's more likely action. I'm ready for just to be winning again, but baseball will be here before we know it, and it'll be a lot of fun to get into and to talk about and debate. And I'm sure nobody will be pissed off the first time Arkansas loses a game. I'm sure not. Yeah. And whoever ends up being the starter for Game 1 against Washington State, I'm sure if they give up a home run, Andrew, you're going to hear it all the time. Remember Hagen Smith gave up a really bad game.
Gackle will stink in the first game, and we'll be like, that's a good sign because Hagen Smith was bad in his first game last year.
That's my favorite type of like revisionist history of like trying to make things work is just be like, well, this one player did that one thing that one time, so therefore, you got to wait. You got to wait and see. It could be okay.
Josh Allen's rookie year has become that, where anytime a rookie quarterback sucks, they're like, well, Josh Allen, his rookie year, he sucked. And, see?
Or in baseball, too, just be like with someone, I'm using this as an example, but like Will McIntyre, be like, Kevin Kopps was like 25 when he had his, maybe that's it here. No, it's not the same. Not the same stuff, folks. All right, let's go ahead and get into your Arkansas update presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Guys, we got our first little bit of Sam Pitman and the fellas coming in, and they're meeting in the meeting room, and I'll just play the clip, and we'll get a chance to hear from the head hog.
See y'all. Our football team needs to be known for our work ethic and who we are, not what we say. People need to see what the hell we're trying to get accomplished and not how we talk. But the bottom line is we got to go to work. We got to go to work because we've got potential to have a great football team. This team has potential, if we go to work, to be much better. Much better.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I don't know about you.
Man, if my nipples were any harder, my clothes would explode. I'm ready. I'm ready to fire off.
Gotta work though. They gotta work though. They did say that.
I just here's the thing. I play that because if you look at the replies, everyone's like, "Gee, sounds like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh and all that stuff." I think I don't have a problem with Pitman. I think I blame whether it's the marketing or whoever's doing all that. Because one,
those are 30 seconds you pulled. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like surely one that there was a better clip you could have used or better something. And two, when you watch that's the thing that I don't get. It's like you put that out, you watch it, you have to read the room, you have to understand what people are feeling. And that football, for crying out loud, anytime they put out something on Twitter, everyone's gonna be like, is Sam Pittman fired yet? Like they're just they're hostile towards you. So maybe just don't put that out. Maybe just put the pictures out or something if that's what you're trying to do.
Should have just did the pictures, maybe videos of him dapping up players, maybe like a quick clip of him being like, go Hogs or something like that. But Yeah, I agree. I don't actually have a problem. I mean, it seemed like that was mid-speech. They like just condensed it. Like, I don't have a problem with anything he said. Like, he's just talking to the team. I did think it was just they put him in a bad spot there. I think they did that on purpose.
But why what would you think the purpose would be?
Just, the people that run these Twitter accounts are like 19-year-olds that are like interning. Like, they don't, I think they know what the internet will respond to. I think they're just, they're like, hey, it'd just be funny if we clip this out, throw it out there and act like he was giving a hype speech.
Well, I just watched that and I just felt bad for him. I was like, come on, man, you guys aren't doing him any favors. Like, what are y'all doing there? But they are back though. They'd have some pictures thrown in there too. They are back and they are, doing things and stuff for all that cares. But another little random note, it's not really a Razor or Arkansas update, but kind of is. Did y'all see Jacoby Criswell entered into the portal again?
Did see that, yeah.
How does he have eligibility left?
How does anybody have eligibility
like 2019 recruiting class, 2019 or 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know how he would still have eligibility.
Yeah, it says for third time in his career, and he's going to have 1 year of eligibility remaining. So for whatever it's worth. But yeah,
UCA need a quarterback. I'm not even saying that as like a knock. I just really, like, he's from Morrilton. I think that would be a kind of a cool last chapter for him.
He's got to go somewhere where he's like the no-brainer starter.
Right.
He wasn't bad when he got inserted there for North Carolina. So he's probably got enough tape out there to entice somebody, right? I mean,
there's a lot of schools out there that he could start at, like a lot of schools. Yeah. But I agree, he should go somewhere where there's no competition. Like, just go play your last year of football, have some fun, because he really hasn't had that opportunity in his career. He's been behind some really good quarterbacks. He came to Arkansas and he had an incumbent starter. I think he probably just needs to go somewhere where he can play and not have to look over his shoulder. And so I hope he goes somewhere like smaller, but can be a nice final chapter for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a crazy, I know it's not unusual because we've seen certain journeys like this, but going from North Carolina to Arkansas to North Carolina, now to somewhere else. And, thinking about like Bill Belichick's coming in. So maybe was it something that Bill Belichick, did he have a meeting with Bill Belichick and Bill was like, we don't need you here, which of course also with Belichick, he hasn't signed his contract yet, which everyone's freaking out about. But, it's just, I wonder if that was a deal where he wants to leave. Was he told to leave? Processed, as they say. I'm curious of what that was like. And if he actually had a sit down meeting with Bill Belichick, I'm not sure. But anyways, wish him nothing but the best of luck.
We're talking about social media departments and everything.
Yeah.
This just came to my head, so I'm bringing it up now. And I wish I pulled the picture. Maybe I will before we're done here. But you know how they'll just make a graphic for anything nowadays. Like, oh, here's my decommitment graphic or whatever. And On3 is really good at doing those. And it's just like the one word thing at the bottom.
Is it wood? Yes.
Yeah. It's like reports or sources say if Jerry Jones offers Deion Sanders the Cowboys job, he would take it. And it's just a picture of Deion Sanders and in big, bold, all caps, would.
The On3 graphics guys have been dominating this portal cycle and just everything, the news cycle. I see a funny edit that just cracks me up.
Hilarious. I thought, and I legit saw it and I was like, oh, this is a pretty clever joke here. No, it was from the legit account. So
yeah. But see, I appreciate that too, because they lean into the absurdity of those graphics, and at least they have some fun with it. So yeah, that is good stuff. That is good stuff. All right, so we'll continue on and move into a little bit of what to watch for, presented by Bryant Technologies, folks, network and security services. They're dedicated to delivering high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions. They take pride in their exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping your business and operations seamlessly connected and secure, whether it's structured cabling, security camera installations, digital signage, or TV mounting. Bryant Technologies has you covered. They service the entire state of Arkansas as well as the bordering states. So have them help you with all of your network and security needs. You can call them today at 870-883-0330, or you can check out their website at bryantstechnology.com. A little S in between Bryant and Technologies, bryantstechnology.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. All right, a little bit of what to watch for. I brought this up, so there's going to be a means to the end. But very disappointing to see that Bob Uecker passed away. An iconic voice of baseball. Many people know him for that and being the Brewers guy, but also a lot of it has to do with him being in Major League. Probably more so than anything. Yeah. So it was really sad. 90 years old, but iconic, had legendary stories, legendary commercials. I don't know anybody that had a problem with Bob Uecker, but it was really disappointing. Really disappointing to see that happen. But you guys have seen Major League, both of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure, because I had conversations earlier with people that did not, and I was really shocked by that. Like people who love sports didn't see Major League. It's to me, Major League might be the best baseball movie. I mean, I know people are going to come after me for that, but I think Major League is my favorite baseball movie.
It's very enjoyable.
I was like, what you're saying is not ridiculous at all. I don't know if like I would have to really think about it if I would go there, but it's one of the like just best all around. It checks all the boxes is what it does.
Yeah, like the acting's great, the comedy. I mean, some of the quotes from that is just, like the just a bit outside, and that's it, one GD hit. Like, you can't say GD on the radio. It's like, no one's listening anyways.
Bob has such a crazy line where like he's like, and Vaughn goes to pitch. Oh shit.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shit. My brother watches Major League like minimum once a year. And so I texted him right away and I was like, dude, RIP to Bob. And he was like, I just watched a couple months ago, man. Like, damn, I'm devastated. And I was like, I knew he'd be fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, apparently one of the stories I heard, and it's not like surprising, but apparently he had the worst language. Like he was awful. And so much so, but he was a legend, because I know you guys haven't been radio, but in radio, they have a thing called dump buttons where if you say something or something gets said, you can dump it and it's a delay and it doesn't go over the air so you don't get fined. Mm. But apparently he was a master at like hitting the cough button, which means, you just go to mute real quick. And he would do it in the middle of a broadcast, like in the middle of like, and here's the 3-1 pitch, and it ends up going out, and then he'd hit the cough button and just go off about some woman in the stands about how beautiful she is, but say a lot of vulgarities, and then lift off and then keep going. Like just very, very good at that, which I respect him for. So, but yeah, I think that's one of the. I was trying to think of other, because baseball movies, I think in general, like might have the best catalog of sports movies.
I might agree with that. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of great. I mean, there's great sports movies in every regard, but I was thinking baseball. You got that. You got Field of Dreams. You have
Sandlots.
Yeah, the Sandlot. Yeah. The Rookie. Which is a
Rookie's good.
One.
Rookie of the Year is also good. Not to be confused with the Rookie. Rookie of the Year, Henry Rodengartner.
Yeah.
Love that. Bull Durham. Oh, I'm actually about to force Hillary to watch Bull Durham. Her dad was talking about it the other day, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Well." Is Costner on the Mount Rushmore of sports movies?
He has to be. I mean, he was also in that golf movie. What was it? Tin Cup, I think is what it's called. Maybe.
And he was in Draft Day, of course.
Yeah.
But I know have y'all seen For Love of the Game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty solid. I mean, it's honestly it's less of a baseball movie than it is like a romance movie that has baseball. But they had Costner throw like 300 pitches a day for like 2 weeks straight. And like by the end of it, he was like, I can't use my arm again. Like it's just, I'm done.
Jeez.
Angels in the outfield, tug at the heartstrings a little bit,
Dude, okay. Here's the thing about Angels. Yes, Moneyball's great. Angels in the Outfield is a very underrated movie I used to watch all the time as a kid. I haven't seen it forever. But do you guys realize how many like big time actors were in that movie? Like Matthew McConaughey was in that movie before he was anybody. Adrian Brody. Both those guys won Oscars. Adrian Brody was the guy who couldn't hit in the outfield. Yeah. You had him. You had Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the kid in the movie who ended up getting an Oscar. Like there was a loaded
cast. He still looks the exact same.
Yeah, exactly. It's a loaded cast in that one. So yeah, Angels in the Outfield. But yeah, I think Major League's my favorite baseball movie. Favorite football movies, probably Remember the Titans or Rudy. Basketball, I'm still a Hoosiers guy. I know it's old.
Rudy was in your top, maybe your top football movie?
One of them, yeah. I love Rudy. I know it's all based on a bunch of crap, but the story's good. If it was a fictional movie, I just like the music more so than anything. But
Finch brought up Hardball. That's a great one.
Oh yeah,
always have love for G Baby, man.
Yeah, Hardball.
That was one of my favorites. Yeah, that's a really good pull right there.
Right. So let me ask you guys this, since we're on the topic, is there a sports movie that is very well known out there that you have not seen? Like one that a lot of people have seen, but is there one that you
Varsity Blues
haven't watched?
It's definitely Varsity Blues for Andrew.
I'm sure there's a couple that I've missed.
It's hard to say what I haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Honestly, I think one of the ones the guy, it's the baseball movie actually that was it Robert Redford was in it? He's the pitcher. So it came out in the 80s. I don't think that's The Rookie, or maybe it is. I don't know. But there's one like that, or The Natural. No, it's The Natural. It's the one you mentioned. It's The Natural. I have not seen that.
I haven't seen that either. So
okay. So that's one of those deals I haven't seen, but
y'all seen Eddie's $1 Million Cookout?
I have not
seen Eddie's $1 Million Cookout.
Original movie. When I was a kid, I used to freaking love that movie. He's like a baseball player who wants to cook, and he has to like go play the title game, and then he has to sprint over to the cook-off, and so it's just tremendous stuff. It's like 70 minutes long.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's like as a kid, I don't know if y'all remember the movie Big Green. The Big Green it was a soccer movie for kids. It's like The Sandlot, but in soccer. Had a lot of the same like actors, kids in it, but it was an early 90s movie. It was dumb.
If there was a soccer movie, I probably did not see it.
Except for Kicking and Screaming, which is good.
Yeah.
The new Kicking and Screaming. I haven't seen the old one. The one with Mike Ditka and Will Ferrell.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff Bergen said Little Giants. That's a good one.
Little Giants was great.
It's a good pull.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing is I've kind of set this up. I wanted to see if it'd be something, but on Thursdays, maybe for this segment, like if there's certain movies that one of us hasn't watched that we need to, or a show or something, we need to like hold each other accountable to watch it within the next week and then circle back on the Thursday and talk about it and see what you thought. So I think that'd be pretty fun to do. Again, with all the different sports movies because again, I'd have to go through the list of ones I haven't seen. And one of the good ones or one of the greater ones, but yeah, I'd have to check that out.
I'm probably going to watch Major League tonight.
I probably will too.
I've decided. Official announcement. I probably will watch it tonight.
Yeah.
Why don't you just watch Varsity Blues tonight?
Yeah, that's true. You should need to watch.
I feel like at this point you're going out of your way to not watch it. It's on TV like every other day.
I'm big on like, if I know for a fact I'm going to have a good time, I'll do it. And I know for a fact I'm going to have a good time watching Major League. You know, and
I know for a fact you'll have a good time with that. Yeah.
I'm sure I'd have a good time, but I don't know for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Varsity Blues, every time I watch it, it still is the most absurd and ridiculous plot to a movie that may ever exist. Like, it's just so absurd, but great characters, great stuff, great quotes. You know, it was ahead of its time, really. And I think John Voight was the best stereotypical Texas football coach you'll ever see in a movie. Like, that dude just nailed it. Like, his accent and everything is great. So, but yeah, we may have to start doing some of that and do some of that fun stuff. And because people in the chat apparently all about it too. Like Ryan saying, watch The Battered Bastards of Baseball. It's about Bing Russell owning the Portland Mavericks. Super interesting documentary. I don't know what all that is.
Right.
But yeah, I'll check it out. Maybe we'll see. And yeah, everyone's just going in there. Finch is over here saying, y'all going to sleep on Coach Carter and White Men Can't Jump?
No. Basketball's got some good movies, some decent movies. He Got Game.
Yeah. Yeah, He Got Game is great. Here's a fun fact, guys. Can you name the 2 basketball movies that Nolan Richardson played in?
He was like tangentially referenced in Glory Road.
Mm-hmm.
Does that count?
No, these are ones that the actual coach, Nolan Richardson, played in and had lines in and talked in these movies.
I know one of these because I've heard a freaking story about it, and now I can't remember what it is.
One of them, I'll tell you this. One of them is He Got Game with Denzel and Washington by Spike Lee. He has a very small part, but they're like interviewing him because he's scouting and he's watching him. So that's one. And the other one, if you would have gotten this, I would have been shocked. But one of them is called a movie called The Sixth Man with Marlon Wayans. It's a comedy from like 1996 where Marlon Wayans and his brother are playing on Washington's basketball team. His brother dies and comes back as a ghost and helps him go to the Final Four.
No one was in that? I've seen that.
Yes. It's a very small clip. I'll have to send it to you, but they're showing highlights of them in the tournament and they play the Razorbacks and they show Nolan in his boots. And then like the ghost brother comes and slaps everybody. He slaps Nolan and a brawl breaks out. It was pretty good stuff. Pretty good.
No one got slapped?
Yeah, no one got slapped.
How do I not remember this? Okay, cool.
Okay, are y'all aware of this movie's existence, Division 3?
Yes, I've never watched it, but it's
Dude.
always like featured on Netflix, and it's just like this big thing with Andy Dick holding a football, and I'm like, okay, I don't know.
The budget was probably $185. It's so good though. When I was a junior in high school, me and my friends were like obsessed with it. We would watch it like every weekend, and that's all we would do is quote it to each other. It's a classic.
It's like that, and like the bench warmers, I think, is one I've still not seen because it's just
You haven't seen the bench warmers with like David Spade and Napoleon Dynamite and all that, dude. That movie, I might have watched Benchwarmers more than any other movie because there was a point when I was growing up. My best friend, every time we'd have a sleepover, we'd watch Benchwarmers. I would bring it to his house if I was going to his house, and if he was in my house, we'd watch it every single time. It's classic.
I've not seen it. Maybe that's one. Maybe that's my homework. Is I watch the Benchwarmers.
You watch Benchwarmers, then I'll consider watching Varsity Blues and end up watching Major League.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll start our review next week for what to watch for with Bryant Technologies, and Andrew will be like, "So hey, how'd you do with your Varsity Blues?" Well, I actually watch Major League, and so here's what I thought about it.
Still good.
Yep, it's still good. But we'll get to that. We'll have some fun with that too. But yeah, that's what to watch for, presented by Bryant Technologies. A few other things that we'll get into. Actually, I'll tell you what. This was a story that I want to bring up, dealing with Quinn Ewers and Texas football. We all know that, of course, Quinn Ewers was going to the NFL and everything. Well, there was a story that had come out, and it's not a surprising story at all, but there was a story that came out that he was offered $8 million to transfer to another school, to not go to the NFL, but to transfer to another school. And we're going to use that as the Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall. You can shop them online now at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. See all the great apparel that they have, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. They got everything you possibly want, especially for baseball season. Those new baseball hats coming in, they're going to have a full stock of them here soon. We'll keep you updated. But InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall to shop them today. The ultimate Razorback shopping experience. So the question I have for you guys, would you turn down $8 million to play just one more year in college football? Or would you say, nah, that ain't worth it. I'm just going to go and try my hand at getting drafted in the NFL?
I'd take the money and come back if I was Quinn Ewers.
And that's who I'm using. Quinn Ewers, not if you're Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, if you're Quinn Ewers.
Yeah. God, man, $8 million. I would probably come back, or I'd probably come back anyway, honestly. Unless I was like, number one pick material or something. But yeah, that's a lot of money, dude. I mean, that's different territory than the type of stuff that we've been talking about in years past. Like, oh yeah, you can come back and get 500,000 or whatnot. That's serious money.
I mean, it's a simple math equation, unless you were drafted in the top 45 picks overall, you would take you multiple years even to surpass that, and I'm sure if you're Quinn Ewers, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I'm going to be a star. I'm going to go to the NFL and I'll earn a starting job and I'll end up getting way more than that. I don't know. I think that option is still also going to be there for you if you come back to college for $8 million, maybe play better than you did this year. Maybe you could trick someone into drafting you pretty high. I mean, hell, Brandon Weeden got drafted in the first round at 37 years old. Maybe Quinn Ewers could do that. So yeah, I would take the $8 million because that's a guarantee. And then I'd mail it in is what I would do.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? He got as you said, the $1 million just to go to Ohio State and not play.
Yeah.
And then just transfer out. I mean, that dude just collected $1 million check and then bounced and didn't do anything. So it's out of the realm of possibility. But I think I would probably go for one more year in college for $8 million. Just because, I mean, you're in college. You don't have to go to class or anything like that. You're a big man on campus. You get beautiful women around you. You're the dude. And who knows, maybe where you go, you end up actually winning a championship, which is kind of my next question. Who do y'all think was the $8 million offer? Which school do you think was given? I'll get him $8 million.
Georgia?
Think it was Georgia?
No, I'm just throwing guesses out there, honestly.
They need it. Well, yeah, I mean.
Maybe Ohio State says, come back, come home.
Is Will Howard done over there?
I would assume he is older. He's been around college football for a while. Yeah. I don't know what eligibility is like these days, but I think Will Howard is probably done.
Bama?
Yeah, maybe. Bama's been pretty quiet this offseason. I could see them taking a big swing because I don't know what they have coming back at quarterback.
Yeah, but $8 million? I mean, it has to be a school.
Objectively, he's not worth that. He's not a bad player. He's a pretty good quarterback, but I just don't think he's going to elevate a roster that much. And is he that big of a star where you're going to get $8 million worth of exposure out of him. Maybe it's a smaller school that's doing this, where they're like, you know what, we'll have a big name quarterback and that'll draw a bunch of attention and it'll be worth it.
It's probably Ole Miss, just because reasons. It's always going to be in the mix. But yeah, this is according to Chip Brown of Horns 247. So it's not like it's just some banter. It's what people were throwing around. And
where's he projected as a draft pick? I
don't think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the draft.
No, he's
I've
not.
seen a lot of Cam Ward buzz. I think Shador is going to be a first round pick, but I don't think Ewers. I haven't kept up with it a ton, but I think he's in the middle of the pack of like the 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks. So he's likely looking at like a mid round draft selection if he goes.
Yeah, because I guess a lot of it was reporting or coming out when Carson Beck was given $4 million or set to make $4 million being Miami's new quarterback down there. So getting double essentially for Quinn Ewers was one of the things that was thrown around. So anyways, I would stay in college if I was him, but I'm not him. And he's going to try to I assume going to go to the NFL and everything, but it's just one of those deals too. Just who would have thought 3 years ago that $8 million, we would have not even thought that was in the realm of a possibility for any player. And now, I thought it was ridiculous that Quinn Ewers got $1 million as a true freshman. I was like, what? That's absurd.
Yeah.
No, none of them's worth. Now you got $8 million or whatever that quarterback is that now at Michigan, that freshman's got like $10 million.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
According to CBS Sports, I don't know how updated this is, but they have him as the number 4 quarterback in the draft behind Milroe, Sanders, and Ward, and right above Jackson Dart. I was just about to ask you guys, if it was Ole Miss that did it, would they even be upgrading at quarterback?
No.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
I would say at the very least, it's like a lateral type of move.
I like the young fella for Ole Miss. Like, you're always taking a risk with a guy that doesn't have as much experience. I think Simmons is his name, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I say that is because I sat with John and watched him shove it down Georgia's throat on one drive, and I was like, my God, this guy's great. But he impressed me there.
You had to bring that up because that's the one time I got cold taked, man. This is the one time in my life I got old takes exposed. Retweeted me because I thought it was going to be curtains for Ole Miss, but it wasn't that case. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who's offering it, but man, maybe whoever it is, though, if you got that type of cash thrown around, you could probably go and offer somebody even better, and they'll for sure take it. Like right now.
Here's another factor in this. Everybody says this year's draft class sucks, and it does for quarterbacks. Who's the big prospect next year? Drew Aller? Yeah. Like Kevin Jennings at SMU, like who I like a lot, but like who's the top quarterback? Like, I don't know if next year is going to be a banner year for quarterback in the NFL draft anyway.
Carson Beck, dude.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying like it's gonna be a rough year again next year, I'd imagine.
Arch Manning,
unless Nico Iamaleava. Weirdly enough, he's probably the best projection quarterback prospect. I bet next year he ends up being a prospect. But that's what I'm saying is like there's not really a proven like for sure hierarchy next year for the draft. So like if I were Quinn Ewers, I would definitely be running it back.
Here's the thing, if Arch Manning has just a really good season, NFL people are going to go insane and they're going to overdraft on him so high. Like it's going to go crazy with it.
And he would be drafted over Quinn for sure. But like, I still think Quinn, like I don't think his draft status is going to change all that much.
No.
Arch might be the top quarterback next year.
No, I bet he will be. Yeah.
Is that who I said, or did I say Quinn? Who did I say?
You said Arch.
Okay, I was just making sure that, because there's a lot of Archies, all these Mannings, all these quarterbacks.
Maybe Quinn Ewers is the Kyle McCord of next year, where he goes to like a Syracuse type of school, throws for 4,000 yards, and is like has a nice final chapter.
Yeah, maybe so. All right, let's get to a few of your chats though, folks, because I know we'll have an SEC update. We'll look at some SEC basketball scores from last night. Wasn't as good of entertaining. Actually, it kind of was, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We got to address it, though, like everyone. But Logan says, badass stash over there, Andrew. Andrew, you got to address the stash, man.
I've had a good stash for a while. I just had the beard around it, but I just shaved the beard. But stash has been getting some love today.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone unnoticed, and it's appreciated.
Yep.
And it's correct. It's the correct way to view it, too.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. This is why, when we do what we do and we're on video all the time and everything, I always remember talking to certain like females or whatever and reporting that if they change their hair color, they get so mad if people bring it up. And I'm like, hey, if you're on camera all the time and just a slight change, everyone's going to bring it up. I mean, it's just going to happen no matter who you are. So that's why I've always been not like nervous, but also, I mean, I've had the same haircut, the same beard, and the same face for like 10 years now. So it's like once I change it up, I'm just gonna be like, whoa, look at this guy. He was a jamoke before. Now he's a joker now. Like, it's gonna happen.
Our chat, they definitely comment on our appearance regularly, like every day. We could not slip anything by them. You can't even sneeze without the chat being like, "Whoa, Curtis is about to sneeze. Curtis about to sneeze." Like, dude,
there
relax.
were so many people yesterday. They were like, "Must be hoodie day at Inside Arkansas." I'm like, "It's January.
Yeah, like, relax, dude. Yeah,
it's January.
Warm." Hey, by the way, I want to quickly address. I did not mean to pull that one up, but
that's the one I pulled up for you. That's why I just.
That's a great one.
I was going to say, how do you accidentally do that?
I was not talking about the little Iamaleava moron. I was talking about his older brother who is the starting quarterback at Tennessee.
Man, coming in hot.
He thought I was making the case for Arkansas for Madden Iamaleava being the top quarterback in the draft.
I saw a lot of people throwing Taylon Green in there, and some of them might have been serious. Some of them might have been doing it in jest. But there's one person on this show right now that was pimping Taylon Green as a first-round pick half the season, and it wasn't me.
Well, one, that's an inaccurate representation of what happened. My argument then was quarterbacks suck. Like we just read off the list. Here are the top. Like Jalen Milroe's about to go in the first round. Jackson Hart's going to go in the second round. Like there, and we got half the chat thinks he's going to be a first rounder next year. The quarterbacks stink in college football. We're in a downward trend of QB prospects. There ain't no Andrew Luck's out there anymore.
Well, it is kind of crazy because you think about Taylon Green. He might be the third best returning quarterback in the SEC next year.
Here y'all go.
Listen, nobody is saying Taylon Green's good at football, but bad quarterbacks get drafted high all the time. I guarantee you he's going to get a tweet from like some draft guy like Baldinger or like Matt Miller or something like that. That's going to be like, intrigued by the skill set of a redshirt senior quarterback, Taylon Green.
He got that this year, and now he's back at Arkansas as the lowest paid quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, but he's got the highest priced heart.
He does have a lot of heart, and he's got to work hard so he can be on a good team.
That's right. All right, a few other chats here too. Jeff just says, if Arkansas struggles and loses Saturday, I think it's time to give Chavis and Curry some time on the court.
I love Jeff, dude. He's been banging this drum for like 3 months now, where he's like, dude, we gotta get the walk-ons in the game.
Not happening, buddy.
No, not happening. Also,
I love it though.
Let's see. 502 Wildcat says, I didn't know you hosted only Razorbacks. No,
baby.
Although
that was really close to being the name of this operation.
Only Hogs was what we were thinking. It was close to it. Could have done it. It's been making a splash. Double H says, do y'all have any tips on how to get my boss to stop talking in this meeting so I can watch the show?
Just give him walk the hell out.
Yeah.
Make a power move.
Give him double birds and then just, walk. Be worth it. Totally. To just leave your job.
I mean, headphones are invented for this very reason. Put one in your ear, you make it work.
Yeah. Technology can help you out. Jeff also wants to know, Andrew, do you follow any updates on the Razorback softball program? If so, what are the chances for another great year of SEC play with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the conference?
I follow Razorback softball about like you guys follow Razorback softball. And I mean, you guys is in the chat. Like I keep up with it. I don't watch a ton of the games because they're mostly coinciding with the Razorback baseball games. But Razorback softball is going to be good. What are they? They're ranked like top 15 again. They just got to get over that hump. And make the World Series, get to OKC. But I saw D1 baseball had I think they have 4 top 100 players or something like that. Bree Ellis, she's good. Not my cousin, but yeah, I don't know. Oklahoma's gonna whip that ass though. They're really good in softball.
They're always
good. Good.
I assume so. I mean, I just assume everybody in the SEC is good in some.
Didn't they play them in a regional or a super a couple years ago?
Who, Texas?
Yeah,
I think maybe they did.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of Ellises in Arkansas sports here recently. I feel like
Andrew and Bree.
Yep.
And Brooks,
yeah.
Yep.
But no, I feel like Razorback softball, they're going to be good. They've been good every year for the last 5 years, but they got to get over that hump. They got to convince me that they're really they're serious about this thing. Mm-hmm. But credit to Deifel though. She took over a dump and she turned it into a Lamborghini.
Yeah. She took over a softball program that was Chad Morris level bad, winning one SEC game a year. and has done that. So I'm rooting for her. But I will say,
and also they stunk in her first few years. Like it wasn't like an overnight fix. She had to really build that sucker up. Like it took her 3-4 years. And in women's sports, you can allow coaches to do that.
I was going to say, I was like, what are you saying, Andrew? I mean, it's just another coach that in their year one didn't do well. I mean, that's how you expect them to do well in year one. But no, I was going to say that if they go to the World Series though, which is in OKC, I'll go. I think Oklahoma City's not far away. I'll go to that. That'll be awesome to go and see how it goes. It'll be hot, but it'd be awesome.
I remember when Oklahoma State didn't have any fans at the baseball regional, and they were like, well, I mean, the softball team's in OKC. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do?
It's like, go to both because they're not that far apart.
The venues don't seat that much, buddy. Like you can fill them both up.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really pathetic and sad. Also, I think this is Trey and Harrison. I always assume there's just a lot of random usernames. Says, hey, Inside Arkansas, what's y'all's favorite feel-good Arkansas Razorbacks highlight video from War Machine? I mean, I don't know. I watched a few of them on that live stream I had the other day, but I mean, I don't know. I guess just the ones that were you were in person and you remember something about them. So, Arkansas beating Texas in 2021 was fun.
I like watching the Arkansas Maryland Eastern Shore from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Carter Knox, 21 points, broke out.
Yeah, John L. Davis scored. That was cool. Yeah, I don't know that I have a lot of favorites, but I like to just kind of go find some of the archives before Arkansas gets ready to play somebody. Like I'll start doing that for Missouri, tonight and tomorrow, check out a couple games. Give myself a reason to record the Pot the Palace preview with a smile on my face. So those are usually what I go to. Some of them, there's just a lot of bad freaking memories, and some of them you can't find any if he's only throwing out wins. So, You
remember that day that we were watching like old, I can't remember what year it was. I guess it was the year before last year. Like we were watching some old Musk games and we were like, dude, look at this. Look at the way they used to play. And that was before Muss left. We were just depressed though about how bad the team was.
Yeah. I've used, you guys know why I did this, but I've used Eric Musselman as a reason to calm the hell down just a little bit about this basketball team. I'm still not optimistic at all, but I just went back through Muss's season. Now last year was just a freaking disaster, but like the 3 before that, and just went back to like this day in those seasons. And it was like, oh boy, I remember thinking that this team was an absolute freaking dumpster fire. And then they wound up figuring it out. I have no reason to anticipate that being the case with this particular team, but I didn't then either. So like I'm at least talking myself back into having an open mind, watching this basketball team playing without having a preconceived, they suck, they're going to lose. Because that's no way to go into this, especially when you have to talk about it every day.
Curtis, this as a fan of a baseball, as a diehard baseball, MLB baseball fan, you don't really mail it in until they're mathematically eliminated. Mm-hmm. Arkansas hasn't been mathematically eliminated. They will be in a couple weeks, but they haven't been yet.
This is right. Yeah. If they get to, what would it be? 12 losses in the SEC. But then we'd be like, they beat Mississippi State in the regular season finale. Now they're going to the SEC tournament.
It's like being a fan of your baseball team. You're like 12 games back in the division standings, and you're like, well, there's still 15 games, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always refer it to as we had not a full show, but just did a good bit of it talking about how Arkansas can make it into the college football playoffs. That was a thing that happened awesome. This year.
Oh yeah,
and it was fun to discuss it. But
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. We duped the chat so much when we put a question in the title. Like everyone today, because we answered the question. Yeah, it's one bad year, but there's reason to believe it could happen again. And everyone in the chat's like, one bad year. They're gonna do the same shit tomorrow.
Yep.
When we do, what if Arkansas beats Missouri? You think they're beating Missouri? Well, what if they're not gonna beat Missouri? I mean, they're not gonna go on the road. It's like, dude, just fucking relax.
Yeah. Starting discussions is what they call it in the business.
Exactly. They hate it.
Starting discussions. Also, I was gonna bring this up from Logan because Logan's our guy, but he said a big softball fan, huh, John? You know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of winning programs. And if they're winning and successful, I like to go and support them.
I've actually seen John attend a track event, although it wasn't a Razorback track event, was it?
It wasn't, but
No,
there were
it
Razorbacks
was
there.
in the facility, so shows your love.
Close enough for government work. Yeah.
Ellis, are we going to go to gymnastics again?
I probably will, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, it's going to have to be the right. That's another one that gets tough. Like, I'll have to do it in the month of January because once they get into baseball season, it's on Friday night. It's like,
See how I was like, hey, Ellis, are we going to go to gymnastics again? He's like, I'll probably go check him out. Like, I was inviting him on a bro situation. He's like, piss off, dude. I'm going solo.
Hey, but no, seriously though,
It's
Curtis,
like
when you and I went,
Brent calls earlier. He's like, John, you're phenomenal. Andrew, incredible.
That was messed up when he did that.
I think like basketball team sucks. You guys just throw me out the window, man. It's just tough. My self-esteem's at an all-time low.
Curtis became bad at his job when the basketball team stopped winning.
But
no, when you and I win, it was Bud Walton, right?
Yeah.
For that Auburn meet.
The Auburn one. That was
They're
cool.
doing like 4 meets in Bud Walton this year, which should make it easier because I like Barnhill, but like it's hard to get a good seat in Barnhill for gymnastics if you don't get there early.
Mm-hmm.
Bud Walton, it's a little bit easier. There's not really a bad seat in the lower bowl.
Are there any Olympians that we'll see this year, I wonder?
No, but we might see
Livy Dunn.
Is she coming? Are they coming up here?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it's actually next Saturday. I think it's the same weekend of when we go to Alumni Hall, or that Friday.
Next Saturday?
No. It's
next
one of those
Friday.
weeks. I don't know. I'll look it up. But
okay.
Yeah. That may be one to attend and everything. But go to your point, Curtis, about like Brent shouting out me and shouting out Andrew. It's like that is what is my favorite thing, because that happens often where like sometimes we'll just get 2/3 of us shouted out, like specifically.
He shouted me out before on a call.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when we were at Alumni Hall, Ellis goes, Curtis, you're big on basketball. You're known for talking basketball, and I'm not known for talking baseball. And John is kind of just known for being John Neighbors. I'm like, yeah, thank you. It's like, you know this thing really well. You know this thing very well. And John it's his name. It's just, he's who he is. So, but no,
between that and the dude that was freaking out about my coaching record in the chat earlier, it's
it's crazy.
And that's what always cracks me up, because I never throw that in people's face. Like if I can like relate to a situation or give a perspective, I will, but I've never been like, I coached NAIA basketball, so I know more than John Calipari. Usually if I'm answering a question or giving an opinion, I'm just like, hell if I know better than him, but this is what I do or whatever. Yeah. It's just a different perspective, but like my job is to talk about these things. I just so happen to coach basketball before. That doesn't make my opinion better than anyone else's, but maybe I can relate to some certain things. It's just a weird thing to freak about. Why the hell should we listen to him? Why should you listen to the guy who's done it before? Why should you listen to all the people out there who talk about it who haven't?
Right.
It's like I don't know. Like I don't use that as ammo, but like it seems like a weird reason to be like, this guy's a dumbass. Like,
it definitely wasn't discussed on today's particular show. Like I think that person just did some digging, did some research, realized that you had it, was like, let me shit on him for it.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody,
and for the record, like with the 1 year I coached, we were a game under 500. Right, like I didn't go out there and win a national championship, but the years I was on staff, we were really good. It's NAIA basketball, man. It's fun. I just enjoy the game.
If y'all had gotten to be above 500, I really would like really hold your opinion in high regard. But like that one game that y'all, you're down the stretch, y'all let it go. I think that's probably why I don't respect.
I'll tell you what Kentucky fans would get a kick out of is our first year, because we started a program from scratch. It was cool, new university, whatever. But then like we had to go through a probation period, kind of like they do when teams go to D1. But our first year when we were postseason eligible for NAIA, we had a great year. It was cool. We made the national tournament. In the first round, we played Pikeville. And if there are BBN people in here, they know exactly who that is. They kicked our ass, man, up and down the floor. You want to talk about like an NAIA team that had a bunch of Division I dudes, man, it was crazy. They had a Louisville player on that team. There's a dude from Morehead State that was out there dunking on us. Like that team was freaking loaded, and they busted our ass for sure.
Well, and it's funny when you're talking about, you not bragging about or not using that as ammo. If anybody does it, I do it, because I'm always like, hey, Curtis, you coached. Like, let's like it's like
I bring it up all the time. Curtis, as a known basketball mind, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of helps at least a little bit to have that regimen. So, also before we get into our final segment here in a bit, shout out to Whitty for the super chat. We appreciate you, Whitty.
Yes.
Says we have an Olympic gymnast on our team. She's a freshman. She was an alternate at Paris. So,
oh, cool. Well, yeah, there you go.
According to Hogs on the Hill, it was Jocelyn Roberson.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Right.
Cool.
See,
yeah, I was saying, and I mean, of course, crap. What's it? Weber? Weber was obviously an Olympian.
Yeah.
Does she count? Yep. And she was on that show, Special
and
Force
movie star. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that she hired recently, maybe a year or two ago, an assistant coach from UCLA that apparently won a bunch of gold medals too. So
UCLA gymnastics, man, that's who Arkansas should continue to take everything they can from.
Yeah, and also another shout out to Jordan Weber for staying here as long as she has. Because I was going to be honest, when they hired her, I'm like, if she has any smell of success, she's going to go somewhere else. She's been here for the long haul. She's embraced the hog, if you will.
It just reminds me of the Hunter Yurchek conversation we were having yesterday. I guess it was. We were like, man, people are trying to run that dude out of here right now, and rightfully so. Anybody can have their opinions on it, but just a couple years ago, it was, boy, man, wow, he really found something with Pitman, pulled Eric Musselman out of nowhere, and look at the hires he's made he got Jordan Weber, and it was just like all the programs are having success. Like
Mike Neighbors was on the positive side back in the day, because at the time they hired him, he was a very well-respected hire, and at the time that we were having a lot of these discussions, like when football was going 9-4, women's basketball was at least making the tournament. They obviously haven't won any games, but they were competitive and a top half of the league team. But yeah, how things change.
Well, and also, speaking of Mike Neighbors, was that the same year that Arkansas was it first Elite Eight or second Elite Eight that he had that really good team that had Chelsea Dungy and everybody? I can't remember which year that was.
I don't remember what year either, but it had Chelsea Dungy and what was the girl? Slocum, Destiny Slocum.
Yeah, they had a good squad there. 3 seed losing to Wright State, get you every time.
Yeah, like a 4-13 or 3-14.
Yeah, pretty rough.
I have one more name pull that I'll throw out there for our friends at BBN. We would do Arkansas plays Kansas or whoever in the preseason exhibitions. We would do stuff like that too. And one year we played a JUCO, so we went to Vincennes in Indiana and we played them in a preseason exhibition, a scrimmage, and we played against Michael Mulder, who wound up at Kentucky. Remember that name? Yeah. So there's a pull right there. Yeah, he was good, obviously.
Speaking of pulls too, I'm going to bring one up too. I actually this was probably 6 years ago. Do you guys remember Patrick Sparks? Played for Kentucky.
I remember the name. I don't know if I remember.
He was a little white guard. He was number 22. He transferred from Western Kentucky, came into Kentucky, and he was there. I think maybe the Billy Clyde Gillespie years or something like that. Well, anyways, I remember it was one of the other times I pissed off Big Blue Nation, and I remember he DM'd me. I need to go back and find it. And he was just going to be like, hey, if Big Blue Nation hates you, you should wear it as a badge of honor.
Nice.
Thanks, Patrick Sparks. Like that, just randomly. Just okay. Thanks. Appreciate your support.
You should check your timeline now.
Yeah.
They love you now.
Yeah. Which I also love too that there's been some random Kentucky fans who have done the most backhanded like DMs or whatever, because it's been filled with a bunch of hate, but like somebody be like, hey, these aren't representatives of Big Blue Nation, Doug Norm and everything, but just know that you're an effing idiot and you have no idea what you're talking about. It's like, thank you.
Yeah. So the second call yesterday was pretty cool, which I like that guy. That was a lot better than the first attempt, but he was just he was very much like, I just thought Arkansas would be more competitive. He said it like a million times and he was being very nice, but it's like,
oh yeah, we
understand what you're doing here, guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, here's my message to you Big Blue Nation people out there again. Hey, you're doing great. It's great for you, but remember, you got to win in the tournament, because if you don't win your first game in the tournament or even your second game, you just had another John Calipari season. I mean, plain and simple.
Let the record show, BBN, when you clip this out, that I do not co-sign John's statements.
Yeah, they've stayed off our necks pretty good.
When you make the Sweet 16, like relax. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. I know you guys are just getting shrapnel. You're getting what do they call it? Not friendly fire, but something like that, where you
like a ricochet shot.
Maybe? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. whatever.
Hopefully we don't actually get that. Speaking of your timeline again, but
man, yeah. Well, it was funny because we talked about, I got that death threat or two yesterday, and Ozzy Maverick tweets out about this long message about this needs to stop. John Neighbors getting death threats and stuff, and all these Kentucky fans were like, things that didn't happen for 500, Alex. I'm like, great joke. That's not dated at all. And then I just responded with the screenshot of it, and then they didn't say anything. So I was like, okay.
Shout out to Ozzy, dude.
Collateral damage. Thank you.
It.
Singing by the
collateral
sea.
damage.
Yeah. Ozzy did a good job with his call-in yesterday, and I guess now we have him in the bunker with us.
Yes. Who else would you want?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead and get to your SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com. Use promo code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase on all things Rhoback. A few things, though. Of course, last night you had a few SEC games. Not as great, but still some of note. Tennessee and Georgia was a top 25 matchup there in Knoxville. Georgia being 23rd in the country, Tennessee being number 6. Blowout city, really, from the second half from Tennessee. Tennessee was down at halftime, 26-25, but then they just blew them out of the water. 74-56. Tennessee beats Georgia, and Mike White's squad takes an L after being in the top 25. So no shame in that, though.
I'm a little disappointed in that. I don't know who they play Saturday. Actually, okay, yeah, no, I don't know who they play on Saturday.
Georgia plays Auburn.
Shit, never mind.
At home, at least.
Never mind. I was gonna say, I hope they win. They stay in the top 25 before they come to Arkansas, but yeah, that's
probably not. Probably not going to happen. But
although if they're on the road, wait, is it at Georgia or no?
It's in Georgia.
It's at Georgia.
They beat Kentucky in there.
It's true.
As our lockdown friend pointed out, they tend to shoot a lot of free throws in their own building, so maybe that's the pathway. And I guess Broom's probably not playing.
Yeah, but Broom's not playing, right?
No,
that would actually be perfect because Auburn threw us off the scent the other day. We were kind of like, oh, hey, maybe Mississippi State will give them trouble. They beat them. They beat the brakes off of them. Maybe this is where they slip up.
Might be the case. I wouldn't hate on it. I would not be too upset. Vanderbilt beat South Carolina 66-63. And I guess I actually watched part of that game, and South Carolina was getting destroyed pretty good, but they came back in the second half, but too little too late. The funny game to me was Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River Shootout basketball edition, where at halftime, Texas was beating the crap out of Oklahoma in Norman. It's 43-27. They were up 16 points at halftime. They still ended up winning, but it was only 77-73. But Oklahoma came storming back and nearly did it. But Oklahoma neither of these teams are good. Like me and Curtis were talking about before the show started. Neither of them are really good, but Oklahoma is definitely very fraudulent. But shout out to former Razorback Tremont Mark, 15 points and 3 rebounds for him. So,
it makes me feel better about Arkansas's chances of beating Texas because I've not been bought in at all on Oklahoma. So
the best team Texas has played this year was a loss to Auburn.
Yeah,
that's the best they've played all year, probably.
They almost beat Tennessee.
Did that? Yeah, they did.
But yeah,
I think it sucks that we can't even celebrate how right we were about Oklahoma because Arkansas is worse. I mean, they're both 0-4, so I guess technically they're tied for worse. But it's like we've been calling the Oklahoma downtrodden thing for a while.
It's like the one thing we've gotten right about this SEC season so far.
Surely Arkansas wins next Saturday against Oklahoma and Bud Walton. Sure.
I'm not even.
We can not cross that bridge when we get
I'll
there.
tell you what I'm damn sure not doing is I'm not predicting it until it happens.
No.
I'm not predicting another win until it happens. So Saturday, tough day coming in Como. Prove me wrong. I'll be happy, but
yeah. I don't disagree. Just a few more things here too. I thought it was kind of funny. Speaking of SEC, did you see that story about that Auburn fan that hacked into the Mississippi State laptop? So at the game, Mississippi State, Auburn playing each other. Obviously, they're in Auburn. And Mississippi State has an intern or whoever that does social media, as we were talking about. And I guess they went to the bathroom or something like that. And they left the laptop kind of open. Well, a fan for Auburn just ran over there, opened it up, saw that it was the official social media person, and tweeted out on the Mississippi State men's basketball Twitter account, WDE for Wardam Eagle.
Didn't know that's how it happened, but I saw a screenshot of the deleted tweet and I was like, what? That is awesome.
Yep. It says, was told an Auburn fan opened this Mississippi State employee's laptop when he was away from the desk and went and tweeted that. So
I leave my laptop open at Bud Walton Arena all the time. Like if I get up and go to the bathroom or go get something to drink or something, and my Twitter's right there. I probably shouldn't do that.
Nope.
I was thinking about this because I thought about the same thing. Like I leave my laptop there too, but also the social media team for Arkansas, they also leave their laptops. They're always sitting in the row in front of me, and then they will always leave for like several minutes at a time. And so like that could easily happen in Arkansas.
Yeah. But also too, it's different in basketball because, football, the press area is separate from the fans completely. Baseball, same thing. Basketball, even if you're on press row, I mean, the fans can still like,
it's like
roll
right
over
there. Yeah.
The pores can reach you for sure.
Yes. So, but I thought that was pretty great. A few other things of note. Did you guys see that? I wish I could play the video, but did you see a brawl almost came out of Florida State as well as Jeff Capel and Pitt in the handshake line? Got pretty nasty there.
That's why Rick Pitino said, stop doing it. Stop doing the handshakes, man. Yeah, I did see that though.
It's all because I guess Pitt dunked at the end of the game, or Florida State dunked at the end of the game when it was over, and that made Capel mad because the game was over. Okay, if that's the stupidest thing, don't get mad about that. Like, don't get mad. Does it change anything other than just you? Like, what did that do to you? You should have been guarding the basket, but you didn't. You gave up on it. So, anyways,
I wish Arkansas cared enough after one of these losses to almost incite a brawl with the other team.
Yeah,
after
that's what they need. They need that. Yeah, maybe.
Did you guys see the day before? I guess it was where Ballo from Indiana like came running. Well, it's like the only time he ran the entire game, but then he tried Z's brother from Illinois.
Ooh.
Like damn near shoved him down, and they almost got into a big brawl there. And this was all in the midst of Assembly Hall just shouting "Fire Woodson." That's brutal, man. There's no coming back from that either, by the way.
No, that's. I feel bad because I think Mike Woodson's like done a decent job. Indiana's just a weird job where it should be good. It's historic and all that, but they just can't. I feel like they hire good coaches even at times, but they just can't.
You know what it is? Nebraska football. That's what Indiana basketball is. Where it's like they are a good program and it makes sense. And it's like one of those, we kind of view it as this sleeping monster, but I don't know if it's really that much of a sleeping monster.
No, it hasn't proved. I think they've been to, it's funny. The last time I remember them being like really good and relevant, even in the tournament, was when they went to the national title with Mike Davis as their coach way back when. But yeah, it's not been good for them. Not been good for them at all.
They had a thing going with I was just gonna say they had a thing going with Arkansas there. It's like they were playing 3 times a freaking year. It felt like, but for a while there, that became a kind of a battle between programs of the past.
Arkansas held up their end of the bargain in that. They played pretty well in those games, especially because it wasn't like a great stretch for Arkansas basketball. But John, you don't remember Indiana basketball's SB Play of the Year?
Oh, I remember
Coach Cal in Kentucky on a game winner.
Mm-hmm. I do remember.
If we're going to talk about great moments of the program, we got to reference that.
Yeah, that beat out one of the greatest punt return you'll ever see in Joe Adams, and they beat out that play, a buzzer beater 3, because no one's ever seen a buzzer beater 3 in college basketball. No. It's never happened. But anyways, don't get me started. I will say though, and sorry, Andrew, I know you hate this, but Curtis, when we were up in Indianapolis, I will say that like the people in there in the Indiana and the Indiana fan, like they were really nice and really cool and really love basketball. Like I remember the people were really awesome. Basketball fans. So
yeah, this is a really good basketball state.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also just some random notes. Did you guys, I know, and I brought this up because I remember when we were making our trip back from Birmingham from the SEC basketball media days, it was a Chick-fil-A we stopped at, right? To use the Wi-Fi, I think. Yeah. Well, apparently Starbucks is officially done letting non-paying customers use their Wi-Fi.
Saw this. And take a dump in their bathrooms.
Yes. They say that you have, which I don't know how y'all feel about this. I actually kind of understand it and totally get it. It's like, if you're going to go in there and use their stuff, the least you can do is just buy a coffee, or just get something, but so I don't see this as a big deal, but some people are just like, this is unfair and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, you're getting free Wi-Fi, and the least you could do is just buy like a $3. You just buy a little drink, something. Mm-hmm. But I just think it's funny that people are kind of upset by this. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of understanding of it.
It's because they're changing something that was a thing, for so long. That's the only reason why. A lot of people go and just hang out there, and I get it. Yeah, I think it's fine. There's a place on Dixon, I can't remember the name, but walked in there to do some work and went and asked for the Wi-Fi because I couldn't get on or whatever. They're like, "Oh, you got to buy something." And then just like print it out on the receipt.
Is it Puritan? Maybe do they do that?
Maybe, yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. I think that's fine. Like you should have to make a $2 purchase or whatever. And I get it as, if you're getting whatever kind of coffee, it could be like $5. But yeah, if you're going to use the Wi-Fi, especially for an extended period of time, I always feel kind of bad. Hey, I feel bad when I go into the gas station just to pee.
Yeah.
Like I kind of feel a little bit bad. I'm like, should I maybe get a Kit Kat or something? I don't know.
I feel bad even if I'm getting gas and I go in there to pee. Like you just go in there, they're looking at you like, "Hi, welcome to Quick Trip," or whatever, and come back out of the bathroom 4 minutes later and just walk right out. And they're like, "This guy."
So you feel bad even if you're buying gas from that station?
I feel weird. Yeah, I just feel seen. That's all.
No.
And look, I'm not saying every time I buy something, but I agree with Curtis where like you at least feel that kind of shame and guilt a little bit. People should feel that. That's normal. If you're at someone's house, you should feel weird going into their fridge and getting something. If you're at Starbucks, you should feel weird if you're using their Wi-Fi with or shitting in their toilet without something. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I actually do feel bad for a lot of the gas stations that or I don't feel bad for them, but it should never happen. Gas stations in certain areas, when you go in, there's not a worse feeling. Then it's like, you got it. It's coming. You got to go. And it's a single bathroom and you're like, and someone's in there. Mm-hmm. It's bad news bears, dude. Cause then you got to start making decisions. You got to start and you got to do it quickly.
You start Googling where the nearest restroom, like nearest other gas stations are. You're like,
yeah. Or maybe you just see if the women's bathroom is open and just go in. Not promoting it now.
Not promoting it.
By the way, I got something for y'all. On3 just put out a report that North Carolina quarterback Jacoby Criswell is in contact with one particular SEC school. I'll give you both a guess.
Kentucky.
I'm going to say Texas A&M. I don't know, just random.
I want to change my answer to Mississippi State.
It's Georgia.
No way.
Yeah.
See, like that's the exact opposite of the move he needs to make.
I love this because it's like Georgia, Duke, others.
I mean, like,
paying
I
him
don't
$8
know.
million.
What? Yeah.
They're going to give him that $8 million.
Somewhere where you can play football, bro. Like, just go play football.
Somewhere and play. That's exactly right.
Yeah. That's craziness. That's wild. Well, he goes to Georgia. Good luck. I don't know what else you could expect, but then again, I don't know. Maybe he's thinking if I can finally play around good players, I'll flourish. Maybe that's his mindset. Yeah. I don't know, but we'll see how that ends up playing out.
Did y'all see? Y'all see the Fordham UMass game last night?
Dude, man, I meant to bring that up. Yes.
UMass fouled. They were up 3, and they fouled at half court. Fouled a half court shooter as time.
He shot a half court shot while they were fouling him.
Mm-hmm. And he made all 3 free throws and went to overtime.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I love those things though.
See, more people need to pump fake the foul. You kind of go, oh, about to foul, and then he throws up a half court shot, and it's like, all right, ball game. Got to pump fake the foul once it gets to a certain point.
Because it was like 120 to 118 in triple overtime, like some crazy game as it was.
Yeah, they wound up going like, that's right, 3 overtimes.
Yeah, and then one of their players, I forgot who it was, but was just on video puking in a trash can.
Good.
Yeah, like blowing chunks into a trash can. So, yeah, quite the storyline, quite the game there. Guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
No, not really. It's kind of a boring night on the sports scene. I think I'm gonna get caught up on the UFC embeddeds. Andrew, I think is what I'm gonna do.
That's a good decision. Yep. Look forward to that. That's why I'm looking forward to the weekend. Wish the Arkansas basketball game were a little bit earlier, but we'll make it work. But I don't have any final thoughts other than tune into the Bombastic Podcast, as you should be doing every day. It's mandatory.
Yep. Well, I'll say this in my final thought, and kind of, I guess, and maybe ending on a somber note, but still, thoughts and prayers to our guy Tom Murphy. This is something that he made public, of course, of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. and everything. But he went on social media yesterday and announced that he has been dealing, unfortunately, and just a terrible thing, dealing with a cancer that was found here recently. And so just hate hearing it for him, because Tom's a great dude, a guy that's been in the beat, and of course stuff would happen with Bob too. I know he took that really hard, but yeah, he's still going to be fighting it. He's got treatments and everything too, but just wanted to show, and thoughts and prayers to Tom Murphy and all that. He's a tough dude. He's going to get through it. He's going to beat it. So
yeah, no doubt about it. He's got a real good attitude and approach to it and everything, and he'll make it. He'll be all right.
Yep. Yeah, he will be all right. And my understanding is the mathematics check out. Like, he actually does, there's reason for optimism. And what sucks is he found out like right before Bob died, like right before. So imagine getting news like that, and then also getting news like the Bob news. And obviously he was as close to Bob as literally anyone on the planet. That's tough, man. Tom's the man. I love that guy for real.
Yep. Tom's great. So yeah, thoughts and prayers with him. And said he's going to beat it, and he has our full support. There's no doubt about it. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on YouTube. You can also follow along on all of our podcasts that are available wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live or the Bombastic Podcast or Pod at the Palace Podcast. You can find it on Apple or Spotify. You can also check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information, all things Razorbacks, and even our social media at Inside Arkansas. So, Brandon Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, and John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you then.